Hello everyone, how's it going? So this is going to be on my off channel, but because I'm just having trouble with Assassin's Creed Mirage 100% in the DLC, I'm going to do this on my off channel. I did every achievement within the Valley of Memory DLC, but I'm still missing the 100% synchronization for the optional content. For those who don't know, before Origins, or at least I think before Origins, they had this thing called 100% synchronization where you have to do optional objectives. This would be like the canon events of what actually happened during that memory. But they brought them back for this game, and I've been slowly trying to get through them, and they are actually quite difficult. Regardless, I want to talk about this DLC because it really shocked me how good this is. Look, I was expecting the bare minimum because that's what we kind of expect from Ubisoft. But somehow this was really good. Look, I did 100% Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I gave that a 5 out of 10 because, let's face it, the controversy surrounding the game was profoundly bad. Like, first, it was supposed to be an expansion for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They sold it for way too much. $50 to me was too expensive. It should have been $30, and they never pushed the story forward. But overall, and it's also unnecessary because it just really shows what happened to Basim before he became Loki. But with this DLC, it actually did more justice to the overall package. Like, if you combine it together, I think this is like a 7, 8 out of 10. And that's because it actually highlights who Basim was more well-roundedly than the core game, because it shows his past and it highlights how this matters to him. So the focus of this story is him trying to find his father. It's a very short DLC. It's only around 2 to 3 hours long if you just do the mainline content, about 4 hours if you do the side content, and we'll get more on that. So he finds a portrait by one of his friends who bought it at a bazaar, and he makes a connection that his father should be in Salim, which is this different region. It's a very condensed region, and he's going to look for his father, and that's the story. Simple, to the point, doesn't push the franchise forward, but it builds on Basim's character before he becomes Loki. It is extremely well acted, voiced, written, everything about it is very well done. And I'm actually really shocked because I 100%ed Assassin's Creed Shadows, and if you play that game, you know how horrible the voice acting was in that game, how terrible the overall narrative, everything about that game was just bloated by the numbers, just mediocre 5 out of 10 experience. But here, somehow, I don't know what black magic they did, they actually delivered a pretty solid narrative. Now, the first factor is the fact that it's not bloated. Like, the experience is actually pretty condensed for Ubisoft standards, at least, and it seems that they're actually taking the criticism to heart. They stopped with the hundreds of collectibles. There are still collectibles here, but at least they're decently paced. There are like fork lures, there's side content, there's hidden treasures you have to locate, which are like this, like you find clues and then you'll locate the region in the world where the clue is pointing to. So overall, they condensed the experience in a much more better paced way. Also, the region isn't that long, even though like running from point A to point B still takes a while. I don't know why they didn't remove the stamina meter from your mount, but that's still there. But yeah, overall, this is much more well paced than anything they've done recently, and they've also cooled it on the hundreds of collectibles. But what really sells the DLC is the narrative. When you get to the end, it really shows they cared about what they were making here, and I'm just like thinking to myself, this is free. Holy crap. They actually did such a really good AAA experience for a free DLC, and it just makes me wonder, this team should be handling the Assassin's Creed franchise, because at its core, like, the franchise has fell off hard. They haven't really delivered much in terms of pushing the story forward after the solar flare. They had trouble trying to establish a brand new main character. They had Lila, but she was easily forgettable. I mean, her legacy is literally linked to Desmond Miles at the end of her story, and Basim was kind of sidelined for some reason, despite being the more charismatic and likable character. Like, everyone loved Basim when he was in Valhalla. They loved him in Mirage, and this just makes me like him even more. Like, he should be the head character now, and I hope that's what they're going to do with the next game, because there's definitely going to be a next game. Just make Basim the main character. Like, just, you have gold here. And here it just makes me like him even more. He's charismatic, driven, kind-hearted, but also willing to do what is necessary in order to get what he wants. He's prone to anger like Connor. He's charismatic like Enzio Auditore. He's strong-willed like Altair. He's determined like Edward Kenway. He has all these incredible features, and most importantly, he just feels human. and that's something that Ubisoft has kind of lost their way with this franchise. Like Yasuke Naoi just felt so boring, and like I don't really know what they were doing there. They were just kind of flipping the switches with those characters, but here it's just refreshing to play as someone who's actually good. And I don't know if it's just because I've been delivered so much crap with this franchise that actually having something that's semi-decent is so refreshing. It's like when you drink water for your entire life and suddenly someone gives you soda. You're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I feel like that's the same situation. I've been given water my entire time playing Assassin's Creed ever since the end of the Desmond Miles games, and now, well, Black Flag and Syndicate were very good games. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but you know what I mean. When they started introducing all the RPG mechanics, they were like, okay, first we gave you soda, now we're going to give you water for like a decade, and now we're going to give you back soda, and now it's just like so much more refreshing. But overall, I think that they did such a good job with this DLC. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not stellar. Like, it's still the same content we experienced in Mirage, the same fetch quest, the same movement system. Like, they did improve the movement system, like a dedicated jump button. That was freaking amazing. I love that. Oh my god, that should be absolutely mandatory from now on. Like, dedicated jump button forever. But yeah, it's still virtually the same game. It's not going to change your mind if you still hate the franchise, but as a fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise, as someone who's played every single mainline entry, I am truly satisfied with this. I'm just shocked at the fact it's free, and I'm also wondering if this is going to be the future moving forward. Like, yeah, they still have a lot of problems with the overall narrative, but if they're going to do self-contained stories like this, I think that's the best way to go, because it seems that if they have a focused agenda in terms of like what they're going to tell, they can do a spectacular job. It seems that when they just bloat the game too much, that's where things start to lose its way. So maybe going for the more condensed worlds would probably be the more ideal situation. Like, don't do something like with Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Odyssey. As great as those games are, they were too big. Like, they were so large. Like, the worlds were great. It was just like there was nothing really to do other than do the same objective. I feel like if they condense the worlds like they do this, maybe improve the side content, like take some notes from Elden Ring when it comes to side content, make them complementary to the overall objective in the world and what's going on, but also make them multi-layered, so you don't have to have hundreds of different meaningless side content like in Valhalla, but do it in a way that is more like, okay, you did this part of the side content, now you do this part, and then this part, like 3 parts, and it tells an overall story that's still linked to the overall agenda of the narrative, or maybe the region that you're in. But yeah, this game's DLC was really shocking for this year, and if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed, I highly recommend you give it a shot. It does, the ending is absolutely emotional. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt things when I played the DLC's ending, and I was just like, wow, I did not think they still had it in them. Like, I haven't had scenes like this since the Ezio trilogy, and it's really just shocking this came from Ubisoft. Like, maybe there's still some creativity there, or maybe there's some hope there. But yeah, really good job, and yeah, hopefully they can keep this momentum. You took the first step, now you need to take the next step. Slowly build back your reputation, and hopefully that stock price will go up. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Love to hear your opinion. Goodbye, have a good day.